Customizing output using printf from the system.out object is very useful. The string class also has a method called format. I use that method all the time. It works just like the printf method. It's important to get used to using these formatters whenever you want to customize your output. So throughout the semester, you'll see me using printf a lot and also the format method on the string class. Printf is attached to the system.out, so system.out.printf. And the way this works is you use these designators with the % sign, and those designators indicate where within the string that you're going to inject an argument. So you can use this to perform concatenation or for output formatting. And here they're giving you an example of using the printf. So here is the string with these indicators here, right? So you're going to take in a string here, and then you're going to take in a decimal integer here. They're passing in Tim and 17. So Tim will be where the %s is at, and the 17 will be where the %d is at. Now, when you have a floating point value, you use %f. They have this 0.2 in front of their f. So that just means that you're only going to use the 2 decimal places. You're not going to use the entire, like all 4 decimal places when you make this string. Over here, they're just passing in 2 integers, so %d and %d, but this one has a 3 in front of it. So that just means it's going to make space for 3 characters in front. And I'll show you how all that works. But here is the list of the flags. So you use a %s for a string, %d for a decimal integer, %f for floating point. And then if you want to limit the number of decimal places, you do a point and then the number of decimal places. And if you want to show integers with a certain space in front of it to a certain number, then you'll put that number in front. There's more than just what you see here. You actually have to go to the Java API to get all the different flags that you can use. Here's the website for the API documentation. This is actually for Java 7. A lot of Java doesn't actually change, so a lot of this stuff is actually still valid. Now, we're on version 16, but I prefer the older sites because it has these frames here. It's easier to navigate. And here is more information about formatting. So if you just Google Java API documentation printf, you can find this page, and it actually gives you more information on using the printf and the formatting, so that you can know like what type of flags you can use when you're trying to print out certain types of information. Whenever you're learning about something new in Java, you could always come to this website and look up the class that you're trying to use, and it'll give you some information on the methods and how to use it. For instance, like one of the objects that we've been talking about is a string. So we could just search for the string class, and it's right here. And here is more information on the string class and how to use it. It gives you methods, constructors. There's a lot of good information here. Like I said, one of the methods that I like to use on the string, and we'll talk more about this in chapters 3, is the format method. Right, so these format methods right here works very similar to the printf method. All right, so I created this Java file to demonstrate customizing output with the printf. So I'm going to demonstrate these things here. My class name matches my file name. I have my main method. Inside the main method is where I'm going to put my programming statements. Then pass in my first name as an argument and my last name as the second argument. So the way this works is my first name will be right here where the first %s is, and my last name will be where the second %s is located. Go ahead and compile. Let me open the console. So I compiled and ran, and you can see that it outputted my name. Another example of this was done in the lectures. %d for a decimal integer, years old. The numeric value that they passed in was 17. And you can see that it's right here. So one thing about printf, it doesn't make the new line. So if you want a new line, I'm gonna have to come over here and do /n. And I should probably do that right here as well. So compile, run, and Tim is 17 years old. Okay, so for the next example, so when I compile and run this program, let me put a new line right here. Okay, you can see like the 97, like if you're listing this out, the 97 starts where the 100 is at. Reserve 3 spots for this integer. What you can do is just put a 3 right there. You should also do it here because, I mean, even though that's already 3, I mean, if I decide to come over here and change it later, then it's still reserving those 3 spots for it. So now when I output it, you can see that there's like that extra space right there. It doesn't look as good on this output console, but it will look even better if we go to command prompt. And this is the way it looks on command prompt, right? You can see that there's like entire space right there. If I were to get rid of this right here, right, the 97 moved back over to where the 1 was at because I'm not allotting the 3 spaces for this number. So that's what that does. It's actually pretty useful. The other thing is limiting the number of decimal places. So when I compile and I run, you can see that this is the average, right? Exactly what I put in. But let's just say that, you know, I didn't really care about all these numbers over here. So I can format this by just putting a 0.2, and that's going to say I only want 2 places after the decimal. So you're only going to get the 3 and the 2. So when I compile, I'm going to run, and now the output is the average is 97.32. So these are actually pretty handy. I use them a lot. The string class has its own version of this, string.format. I'll use that a lot too whenever we get into chapter 4.